Right. You got all like this.
I'm a girl.
So what you think?
Look at my body.
I'm T-Dot.
I'm Mack O. My hips don't even
So
sit
today
right
we're going to
like
be talking
this.
about life lessons and lessons you wish you learned as a kid. So I had a conversation with my cousin. You guys tell me if this is what you think or if you agree with it, all right? Make sure you click, subscribe, like. So I had a conversation with my cousin. He said, this is what happens. I'm going to give you an overview of what happened, okay? Because I like to talk about where do we feel as far as disconnection in regards to the older generation and the younger generation. So he said in the 60s and 70s, we were struggling to get jobs. We couldn't get jobs. Everybody wanted to have this and this, so they went out and they protested. Okay, so jobs came through. After they got jobs, then cocaine and drugs was really popping. So we went from this grinding and protesting for rights to just basically kicking it. And with everybody kicking it, everybody was having sex, right? Had a bunch of kids, and a lot of the fathers didn't want to take care of the children, so the fathers were out doing what they were doing, while the women were basically taking care of the kids, and they had to work really hard. So what you have is a generation of parents that work really hard, and then they had a bunch of the kids. So y'all listening to me?
We listening. I swear to God, we listening.
Right. So they had a bunch of children, and they didn't want to have the children to go through what they went through with the struggling. So they ended up giving all their kids all these resources, and now we have a generation of entitled people, entitled children, and we have people that are lazy, and we have a disconnect between a generation that was scarce, a generation that was that's entitled, and the difference between the two. Do you guys agree with that?
Not in my household. I don't.
What does your household look like?
Well, I will say that one of the things that I've always taught, not so much just especially my boys, but in general, that I hit them harder with it than I did my daughter, because there's always a possibility that she would, get a husband or whatever. But accountability is one thing that's big in my household. What I noticed, because I was always at my kids' school, and one thing I hated to see, because one of my best friends is a teacher, and so I was up there one day doing some blue and gold mess, and I'm in the office, and this mom is literally ready to fight my friend because her baby couldn't go to the field trip to the zoo because he was acting bad. So she was that upset that her son was being punished. I'm like, there's going to come a time where you can't protect your child from their behaviors or their actions. And now he bad. He act bad at home. He act bad at church. So what you think he act like at school? So, and it just annoyed me. And I'm like, she didn't know she was supposed to get swung on.
But she was about to come up to that
school and get
But do you think that mother's actions is giving that kid an entitled mentality?
I do feel like that's an entitlement. But in my household, I teach my kids accountability now because I'm the mother. I know my kids. So say, for example, they called me and said, Quincy cussed out the teacher. And I'm like, he sure did. That's exactly what he does. It's typical. I know that my kid likes to cuss. Alex had a fight. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. You know your kids. So you can't tell me, with me knowing how my kids behave at home or, around relatives, there's certain things your kids do. Right. And when they called me and told me that my baby boy slapped a little girl with some toast, I'm like, yep. I said, it's my son. I said, if you ever feel that pimpish at breakfast, I swear I'm going to break your arms.
Don't be pimping before lunch. You don't do that.
But I know my kids. That's the thing. Like, they can't tell me. You can't lie to me about my kids.
And as a former educator, I would say we love parents, like T-Dot, parents that teach accountability.
Right.
That's a very big thing. It's not enough accountability in schools, in the world, period. But we can just talk about in schools. I've seen parents. I saw a little dude that's in 3rd grade. His mom, he walks up with his shoes untied. His mama looked at me and said, somebody need to teach him how to tie his shoes. True story. But I said, you right, mama. And she said, oh, I guess that is me, huh? Yeah, true story. She was talking about something. And then gonna tell me, I don't want y'all up here labeling my son as bad. This is what I said to her. What you think he is?
He's just what he is at home.
She said, but at home, he know I whoop his butt. I said, we ain't got no belts. We can't take no Xboxes.
Well, my daughter's
Your
in
son need
the, my
to
daughter's
come
in the
up here and
second
act
grade.
right.
The principal had a belt in the office at Millwood. I promise to God, and I used to tell my kids' ass up. But then they start calling security on me. I can't whoop my kids like.
Hey, they'll stop you. I came and whoop my daughter once at school. I whooped her quick too. I walked right in school, whooped her, walked out. I was on my lunch break at work. They called and told me we had to put her out in the hallway. I took off on my lunch break, caught her in the hallway, whooped her in the hallway so the classroom could see her, then left. The principal called me on the way out. This at St. John's. The principal said, Mr. Henson, we like parents that are proactive, but you can't whoop her at school no more.
I said, spoil the child.
You know what I told her? I won't have to. That was one time. That was the second grade. She's finna graduate this year, and we have not had any more problems.
Okay.
You got to get to it, man.
So what are some other life lessons that you think?
My kids, and this is a lesson they learn by default, being in the household, they see the struggle. My kids have been front row seat for the struggle. There's been times when we come home and I'm like, listen, y'all, light a candle. I don't know. It happens. Life happened, and if utilities are off or whatever happened, they got it. So from that point on, I think I started them probably about the 5th grade. Christmas money, you better use it wisely because there's going to be times when Mama is not going to have it to give it to you. So Christmas money, birthday money from grandparents. It wasn't just go out and blow it on a game. I had athletes, and you lose your mouthpieces. Y'all want to go buy a bag of mouthpieces? You got Christmas money. You had birthday money. Go use that money wisely. So now I have a 23-year-old who's better with money than any of us. He's an excellent budgeter, and my daughter, she's 22. She's good with her money. It's just those type of things that I say is because I always want my kids to be better than me, and they've proved it. Right. That's what their intentions are because they don't want to go through the struggle that they grew up in. So now they got their shit together.
I think that's kind of different. My kids haven't got to that age yet, but I think they have started to budget and be mindful when we buy certain things. But I don't think we've gotten to that point yet.
I mean, my boys aren't Jordan
I have another
buyers.
life lesson that you need to talk to your kids about.
What's that?
Sex.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Listen, man.
Healthy sex.
You need to teach your kids about sex because if you don't, they're gonna learn it from somebody about 2 or 3 years older than them. You're going to have your 6th grader learning from 8th and 9th graders. Yep. Everything they think they know. I taught sex education. I had to argue. Go get backup. Go get some cited sources with 16 and 17-year-old boys who were sexually active, who felt like if they just used earwax out of their ear.
Ain't that some country shit?
On their finger and stuck it in a girl's vagina, it could tell them if she had any sexually transmitted disease.
That's some country. You ain't never heard of my cousins.
And they out there living
I promise
and
I heard
dying, gambling their weenies
on some earwax.
on some earwax.
I heard that.
Talk to your kids. I'm telling you. These
They'll
boys
dig in
was
their
arguing
ear
with me.
and stick it inside of a woman.
And they say if she starts squirming and burning, that means she got something. If she don't,
if the
then it's
earwax
cool.
give her a reaction.
Never heard.
So I'm telling you, you need to talk. But not even that. Think about all the BS that you were taught
Right.
when you were growing up by
That's
other
it.
people, other kids around you. Because the adults around you try to act like sex wasn't real. So they're going to tell you about birds and bees and storks and all this other stuff.
Right.
But meanwhile, somebody 16 and it's on their phones now.
Right.
It's everywhere.
So
it's
you got to talk to them. You got to let them know that it's natural and teach them how to handle it and how to be smart with their sexuality.
And
because if you
ask them a game plan.
you're gonna
them a
be
game plan.
a grandparent. You right when you gonna be like, oh, I'm almost ready to empty nest. These kids finna be out the house. We finna be walking around.
My whole story.
Swinging, and then boop, a baby. Now I gotta worry about. Boy, I'm telling you, you better teach them.
Well, in speaking to my kids about sex, a lot of people don't know. I have a sister that passed away from HIV or AIDS, and so we talked about protection a lot. And I mean, before I even knew if they were giving up the goods, under my bathroom counter there's a bucket of condoms. I don't ask no questions. I don't care. I mean, sometimes I dip in there and grab a couple of them, but I would always make sure they were available to my children. in sixth grade, my oldest son, we're just talking. And I'm like, "What's your plan?" He said, "I'm always use a condom until I get married, and then we're gonna get tested, and then we're gonna have sex without a condom." And so far, so good. He's done good.
Look, and that's a realistic, tangible way to handle things because these kids out here learning stuff. Let me tell y'all a quick story. Can I tell you a quick story?
Go ahead.
Listen, man. I'm working at an elementary school. 3rd grade lunch, recess. A little girl has stripped the corn off of her corn dog and is simulating fellatio.
What the heck?
Dude,
what grade?
This is 3rd grade.
3rd grade.
This is how I found out. The little boy, one of my favorite little young students, he is crying. I'm like, what's wrong with you? He like, I want to eat my corn dog, but I ain't gay. I'm like, what? He says, the girl's name, said, this is a boy's weenie. So it's him and like 4 of his homeboys that's looking at their corn dogs, starving. But like, I can't eat my lunch because I ain't making this up. This is a true story. Hey, right while he telling me, I glance over. The little girl is like, what the corn dog? So I stop her, like, girl, what's wrong with you? She like, what? I'm like, man, you know what you're doing. I send her to the office. I tell all the kids go back to eating. But I still got these little 5 boys over here that can't eat. Traumatized. I'm always their lunch. Hey, listen, I told them, take it off the stick and cut it up. I promise. They was 3rd graders, so I had them 3rd grade, 4th, 5th grade lunch. For the rest of the time they was in elementary school, they all took their corn dogs off the stick and cut them up.
They probably still
doing like 10th graders now, and I bet you they still ain't eating corn dogs
on the stick.
Because they traumatized by some little fast girl in 3rd grade.
Who?
And her mama on my friend list.
Oh, my God.
No joke. I ain't even going to say your name, but her mama's on my friend's list.
Well, it is true that kids do learn. I mean, because we all had those when your mama brought her friend over.
So what was like some of the conversations? How did your parents teach you about sex? Or did your parents teach you?
My parents didn't teach me.
My dad was like, I'm going to leave this door open. She bad, son. It is what it is. That's kind of how I got
You need to write your book need to be
You need a bad.
He maybe want to give him a hug.
Walked in, my dad was getting it in, and he's just like, hey, son, like, and I was like, yo, she kind of bad. Like,
he let you just see him just putting it down.
It's all open. Like, hey.
Pop's confident.
I would gag if I ever heard my parents in the room having sex, but
yeah.
What's some other life game kids need to know, man?
I know with me, one thing, because everybody says, your kids are supposed to be able to come talk to you about anything. Yes. That's one thing that I didn't have. So, but my daddy would always say, when you're ready to have sex, just let me know. We get you on some birth control. I still didn't feel comfortable. So after this, my junior year in high school, I'm pregnant. I'm like, I don't know how to tell them. So I'm like, yo, I think I want to get some birth control. I'm like, surely they'll tell them.
Right. Yeah.
I left out a parent. I'm like, why the fuck do I got birth control? Y'all didn't even check. Like, I thought you was supposed to check. Like, you was going to tell them I was pregnant. So I didn't have to.
I'm going to wait till this baby, till this water break before I let them know.
I was 7 months. I was 7 months before I told my parents.
14, my mom. So she was like close enough in age with me where she was so open with conversations that she was just like, listen, if you decide to do it, I'll get some rubbers. When it came to like smoking weed, she was like, look, if you smoking weed, just make sure you smoke with me. Because people put stuff and stuff, but we had such that close, open relationship where any issues.
In the new world that we living in, where dispensaries on every corner,
right?
You need to be talking to your kids about marijuana.
You need to talk to your kids about all these, because they pop Molly's. Man. I was so confused.
The music they listen to, man. You need to be talking to your kids about everything that's.
They be having. This one was like, asked me that I want a half of a dolphin. I'm like, where the fuck you get a dolphin from on the east side? But it was a drug. And I'm like, I don't never know.
She said, who you ain't selling? She was like, how much for the dolphin? I'm going to put them in my uncle's pool.
I'm like, she thought they had get their taxes and do not know how to act.
She thought it was real dolphins. She's like, I'm going to give me a dolphin in the giraffe.
I don't know. No, listen. I'm not a drug head. I smoked weed for a little while.
Half a dolphin?
I smoked weed for a little while, but I've never done anything else.
She's going to put it in a deep freeze.
So when you come to me at the club and we drinking, and she's like, Are we gonna share a dolphin? I'm like,
I would have wear half. Look, if I was in the club and I've been drinking and you walked up and said you want to share a dolphin, I'd be like, hell yeah. Let's get an elephant too.
I'm just looking at it like, now listen, I don't know
Who's
how.
selling them?
That's some tax money. You
We gonna
about
put it in the ice parking lot. We can charge $5 to pet it.
Right,
Yeah,
dolphin.
that's a business.
Who knows? So you gotta talk to your kids about drugs, sex, accountability. You gotta teach money. There's so many things to get them prepared for the real world. And the best lessons is
Who's selling them dolphins?
don't make fun of me. I still don't do any other kind of drug.
Hey, listen, we're proud of T-Dot.
Alcohol.
I mean T-Mac. Mac, we're proud of T-Dot for not knowing what the dolphin is. My
That's
dog,
what's
that's
up.
good.
I was in my 30s though. I was like
You
older.
want to go half on a dolphin? Like, how much? Do I go check my credit? I was like, yeah. I mean, before I even know how to do that, I'm going half on a dolphin.
Oh my God, bro. God.
So y'all just, that's not something that everybody just walking. They don't have that in class.
That's crazy.
We done.
That's
All right,
man.
man.
So, listen, bottom line.
Teach your kids about drugs.
Teach your kids about drugs so they know. Teach your kids about sex, money, finance.
And don't be scared to use your family members as failed at life as examples of what not to do.
Straight up. Yes.
Straight up.
I know him.
Hey, I
you
point
see
at
Uncle
regular
Joe's
dope fiends. I be like, you see him?
You see him?
He used to be a pimp. Now he begging for dollars. And I'm telling you, I point him out, man.
Point them
Hey,
out.
listen, man, I'm free.
I'm T-Dot.
I'm Mack O.
I'm drug free too.
Drug free. Don't do
Hey, you know what
drugs.
made me sad? Is when I see somebody who used to be fine, like when he was young, and they ugly now.
No tea.
Oh, I just be like, man, that let me know I'm on. Like,
Right.
Thank
you
y'all
like,
for
man,
watching.
she
Make
used to
sure
be
y'all
bad.
should subscribe,
And y'all
share,
be
Oh my God.
comment.
you talking about
Hey,
Nico Mama?
make sure
You're like,
your
Nico
kids-
Mama used to be fine
Shut up.
before she
Hey,
lost
hey.
them teeth.